When did you decide to become a parent? Was it a conscious decision or something that happened unexpectedly? Do you feel that you were always destined to be a parent? That it was an inevitable part of your life? Or perhaps something that you grappled with and maybe still are? When do you think you became a parent? Was it when you knew a child was going to be coming into your life? Or did you only start to identify with that role months or even years after you first met them? Did you think about what being a parent meant? What it is to begin a lifelong relationship with another human? Perhaps you had some stories in your mind about what parents are and what they do. Stories you've been told since you were a baby yourself. Stories that have, perhaps, set up certain expectations for you about what good parents do, how they behave, even how they feel inside and what they think about. Maybe you haven't had much opportunity to think about those stories. Maybe you'd never really thought of them as stories, but they exist in all of us, in the form of ideals and assumptions. And they can lead to difficult feelings like loss, guilt, and failure when our realities turn out to be quite different. How about your child? If you haven't met your child yet, how do you imagine they will be? Where have those ideas come from? If you have a child in your life already, what ideas did you hold about them? Had you thought about what they'd be like before you met them? Did you assume that you would just know them from the moment you met? Perhaps you had a baby already in your mind, one that had existed as a doll, or a stick, or a train, when you were tiny and carrying around a precious imaginary baby. Or perhaps you didn't think about what a child would be like at all, but more that it felt the right time to consider creating a family because, well, it just did, and that's what people do, right? We hold a lot of stories in us. Stories about what it means to be a parent, what babies and children are like. Stories about the relationship between parents and children. Sometimes these are positive stories from our own childhood that we wish to repeat. Sometimes they are based on our painful experiences, those stories we wish to forget about or rewrite completely. Sometimes these stories are buried deep within us. Sometimes they exist closer to the surface. But at some point in our parenting, we will find ourselves face to face with these stories and the assumptions they contain. We might challenge them and create new stories. Often, though, because we're human and changing stories is a hard thing to do, we hold tighter to them and wonder what we need to do differently to make that story a reality. There's a good chance that one of those stories, or even many of them, are behind you listening to this book. A story like, if I can just figure out the right strategy to manage my child's behaviour, then life will feel easier again. Or, family life feels really hard and maybe this book will give me the answer to change that. Or even, maybe this is the book that will tell me what it is I'm meant to be doing because, frankly, I don't have a clue and everyone else seems to have it together, and will someone please just tell me what to do because I'm drowning over here. We pick up parenting books because they appear to sell us that fantasy. That if we just do the thing, or say the words, or follow the instructions, everything will be easier. And often, we put them down after the first few pages because they don't provide any easy answers. But what if there aren't any easy answers? What if the story isn't just one story, but many, some of which contradict each other?